Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to r/Tenants from Hell, where we read stories about the worst tenants imaginable. And in today's video you will hear a story about tenants who refused to pay rent, then got threatened with eviction, and then completely destroyed OP's property in the process. Without any further ado, let's dive right into the stories. And the first one is titled, "Evicted Tenants Completely Demolished My House." I lived in this house from 2003 until 2010. I moved to a new house when I got engaged and put the old house up for sale. My homeowner's insurance dropped me due to the house being vacant, so we decided to rent the house out. Of the 12 tenant applicants, only one couple actually had jobs. Background check came back clean on the woman, but the man was a little spotty, not terrible. We received rent payments for a few months and then partial payment and then nothing. We finally got them evicted this week. When we and the sheriff's deputy entered the property, this is what we saw. And basically guys, the OP linked a picture of an apartment that was just terribly messy and destroyed, and it was pretty much impossible to live inside there. The police say that this is a civil matter and not criminal, which I'm having a hard time contemplating. These people willfully and intentionally destroyed the property. We are looking at $4,500 for cleanout plus several thousands in repairs. I am devastated. I don't have the money for this. I still owe $38,000 on the mortgage. Even if I were to auction the house, I will never break even. Goodbye dreams of getting my equity out of the house. I just want out of this without losing more money. Some people have said, walk away and quit paying the mortgage, but that will ruin my credit and just seems like the wrong thing to do. Maybe I am incorrect on that, I just don't know what to do. Reddit, show me the path to enlightenment. Any and all recommendations will be greatly appreciated. And a user in the comments gave the following advice. I cannot speak for your state. You will want to talk to a landlord/tenant lawyer, but I worked for a renter's legal assistance program in California briefly. I would say that it is going to be a hard long battle to get your money back, but that doesn't mean you don't have any options. Assuming you had a lease agreement when you signed and a security deposit, in California what we would recommend a landlord to do is the following. Document all evidence of damage. Videotape recording is fine, but the next step would be itemizing each damaged section and getting an estimated cost of repair. Take lots of photos. Document all attempts to contact the renter, call them on the phone, send them letters at their references mailing address. The information you got for the background check should be useful for this. Number 3, assuming you cannot contact them or they straight up refuse, get the repairs done. If you have to do it yourself, and document that you did it yourself to save money. By the way, note that you should still have copies of the estimates made by professionals to know what to properly bill. Number 4, bring it to small claims court. In California you can bring matters up to $7,500 and filing fees are relatively low. I'm not sure what your state will be like. You don't have to hire an attorney, just bring all of the documentation you made earlier and neatly file your complaint for the amount of money you want. If they are deadbeats, chances are they won't show, all the more easy for you to win your case. If they do show, you've got all your evidence in hand. Depending on the outcome of the case, they will likely lose. If they don't show, you will have a judgment against the people, after which you can get them to pay up or to set up some system where their pay is docked. You can also consider selling it off to a collections agency for a smaller amount. I'll be honest, it won't be easy and it is unlikely you will get the money back anytime soon, but it is steps you can take to hopefully one day recover some of it. As for this, some people have said walk away and quit paying the mortgage, but that will ruin my credit. And yes, your credit will be ruined for 7 years. In certain circumstances it might make sense, as in you are financially sound and have no need for credit, but note that if you will need credit in the upcoming 7 years, it will be next to impossible to get it. And now OP's update in regards to all the responses etc. We are in a small town in the Midwest. Home prices here are the lowest in the country. For $150K here you can buy a home that would be $500K in LA. It was appraised at $65,000 when I moved out. We were asking $59K but willing to take $50K. That is about average for the town we live in, and the biggest problem is the cement in the sewer drains and all of the missing metal plumbing pipes. In addition, edit number 2, I am overwhelmed with the response. I will try to address some of the comments. The eviction process has been going on for a little over a month. The actual eviction and video took place this week. The eviction process in IL does not favor the landlord. If you see a horror story like this, it still takes at least 30 plus days to get them out. And that is 30 days of dog crap from multiple dogs. It can be even worse when there are children involved, and yes, DCFS has been contacted. Problems with DCFS deserve their own subreddit. The cleanup of the trash and carpet will be really bad, but I will get a bunch of friends and beer and take care of that myself. The missing pipes and cement in the sewer is beyond my scope of knowledge, so it will have to be professionally done. The raw sewage was running into the basement with every flush, every bath, etc. There was about 4 to 6 inches of sewage in the basement. Everything that should have went into the sewer instead went directly into the basement since the lines were either gone or full of cement. The sewage has been sucked out by a liquid waste company. They used a truck that sucks out porta potties and cleared the basement. As for the cleanup cost, I didn't make up the number, that was the quote I received. They stated because of biologicals, the price was higher than normal. As far as the police are concerned, I don't fault them, they can only work with the laws that are in place. I've been in contact with the police chief and a report has been filed as of today. They agreed that the cement and missing pipes makes it a criminal matter. Whether the state's attorney decides to prosecute or not is a different matter, only time will tell. Now that a report has been filed, I may have a better chance in convincing my homeowner's insurance to help at least a little. I want to pursue this criminally, so it will be on their record. I will not just walk away and let this happen to someone else. They are unmarried and both signed the lease, so that may be helpful since I will also be pursuing this through small claims court. Small claims will be less work and cost, and I will at least have the option of getting up to a 10k judgment, maybe each. And yes, I looked that up. I'm not arrogant enough to not at least take some of the blame, but some of these comments are ruthless. I'm not trying to make money off of this, I'm only trying to recoup or minimize my loss. For the record, they are Caucasian, so racial comments are unwelcome. Maybe I should have done spot checks on a monthly basis or something, but I didn't want to be an overbearing landlord. I have friends that live across the street from the house, nobody ever complained about anything. For God's sake, there were children living there. I never imagined someone in a small town of 6,000 people would be living like that when everyone seems to know everyone's business. Number 3 final edit, so I was able to get a few things done. This will be a long process, but I will post something after it is all said and done. It will probably be at least a couple months. Here is where we now stand. The police have been more than helpful and have taken the report and are filing it. Where that goes is completely up to the state's attorney. I have no idea what DCFS will do, and I doubt I ever find out. I know some people will never believe a landlord, but I did nothing to deserve this. I guess you just have to ask yourself, why would someone who just found out that they are going to be evicted tear out the sewer lines and pour concrete in them? These people are incredible, and I feel terrible for their innocent children. The carpet, the junk and dog waste is on me. I guess that is just part of being a landlord. The removal and the cement down the sewer drains will be a little costly to fix. I have no hard estimates on that yet. There were some pipes torn out of the basement, but not nearly as bad as we originally expected. I will take the blame for overestimating it since I was overly emotional and not actually able to get the pipes with all the raw sewage in the way. For the cleanup, I will get a bunch of friends together, rent a dumpster and pay everyone $100, buy some beer and get it done. After the cleanup, well, that depends on what my new attorney can get from either the former tenants or my homeowner's insurance. To clear some things up, I have homeowner's insurance. They dropped me due to it being empty. After getting tenants, the insurance started up again. I had never heard of landlord insurance. I'm not a landlord by trade, I was just kind of forced into it. I'll never reveal the names of the tenants, I just cannot risk it. As for the location, it is Hoopston IL. For the people saying that at 55k it was a dump to begin with, you have no idea what real estate prices are in some parts of the United States. Why don't you leave your metropolitan area and experience some of the rest of the world? I'll greatly appreciate some of the comments, it is almost like therapy. Till next time, Redditors. Peace. Final update to the story, I'm no longer a landlord. As a follow-up, I've since gotten divorced and I'm now living in the house. It cost me 16k to repair and make the house livable again. I did get a full judgment against the former tenants, but I've collected very little of it. If I could go back, sure, I would do things differently, but I learned my lesson and life goes on. So yeah guys, that is the final update to the story, and I would love to hear from you. Are you interested in both awful landlords and awful tenant stories? Please let me know in the comments which one of those you prefer more, or if you just like both of them. Thank you very much in advance, and now let's continue to the next story. And the next one starts like this. My current tenant just moved out. I have, read head, a beautiful home 3 years ago, 3-bedroom, fully solar, updated everything, nice bamboo floors. Enter my tenant. Red flags were not immediate. She had a great history with prior residences, a couple of exceptions were made. She wanted to pay 100 less than I had listed, asking if she could plant things in the garden, etc. Fast forward 6 months or so, rent starts being late. Not only late, but she would not let me know until the day rent was due that she needed to pay 3 to 4 days later. When I could come by to collect the rent, she would tell me things were broken, disposal, sink clogged, etc., which is all fine, but she would tell me it has been broken for 3 weeks and just now decided to tell me. We talk and text frequently about rent and other things, yet she could never inform me when stuff was broken until I dropped by. This all came to a head when she got rats in the house. I go over to collect rent after 2 months not being there, and holy damn, a fan globe was broken and the glass was all over the kitchen for multiple days, they told me. She had a 4-year-old in the house too. The bathroom had roaches all in it, trash along the side of the house spilling out of cans, holes in the drywall, small but there, blinds, nice wooden ones, strings broken, and the house smells awful like rat piss. She tells me there have been rats here for a few weeks. Well, I wonder if it has anything to do with all the trash outside and open food dishes in the sink that reek. I never in my life thought I would have to tell a grown woman with kids that yes, you need to put garbage in the garbage can, and no, you cannot leave food out until it rots, otherwise you get these lovely pests. Anyway, even though it is in her lease to deal with rodent and pest control issues, I do it myself. I hire a company under contract to handle the whole thing for 1 year guarantee for like $1,000. All she has to do is call the number I give her whenever she sees and hears a rat or anything. Well, guess what she does not do? She would occasionally text me saying she saw a rat. I say, call pest control to come take care of it, and then nothing. This went on for 6 months, all the while rats chewed my stove wires, now not under warranty since they don't cover pest issues, clogged the dishwasher, wrecked my cabinets, etc. They just moved out last week, holes in the doors now, looks like they tried to crowbar the interior doors open for some reason, split jams, garbage left all over the yard front and back, my floors have this inexplicable grease all over, and sticky things her child drew in crayons all over the doors. It is a mess. If you ever rent a place you care about, first stop caring about it, and second be choosy and take the few months unrented to get someone you are sure about. And guys, if you have watched until here and have ever dealt with awful tenants that leave your place looking like an absolute mess, then please don't forget to like the video and maybe even post some star emojis in the comments if you want to support my channel. Thank you so much in advance. Anyway, the next story starts like this. My awful tenant was called Steven. He and his girlfriend moved in. They led us to believe he was employed full time and she was a student, but soon after we were dealing with him cooking, eating and using common areas at like 2 to 4 AM in the morning constantly, and strong smells of something like car battery in the early AM, probably tweaking. His attempts at cleaning consisted of trying to mop the walls and surfaces instead of wiping them down or just using the mop on the floor. Cringe. Kept a puppy in the house and room at times when he thought no one was around, which was definitely a no-no. He was also late with rent on his 2nd month, became hostile with all other housemates with almost any interaction or when asked to clean up his messes. He tried to pick fights with housemates to bait them to hit him or to overreact. Luckily we didn't. The dude was a psycho. I ended up giving him his 30 days notice before he had been here his 2nd month. All the while his poor girlfriend, who we all thought was in school, was actually pregnant with his kid, and that is why she was always home and they had been running from/avoiding her family. She was a nice girl, but you could tell she had no control in the relationship. Apparently it also came to light that maybe their relationship started when she was like 14 to 15 and he was probably 20 at the time. Grooming her, it seemed. He threatened us with all kinds of legal action, actually did have to get a lawyer and make sure we were in the clear. The worst 3 months with a tenant/housemate, we actually threw a party when they left. I can only imagine that poor girl's life, or the kids. Only have bad wishes for Steven, since he was such a scumbag douche canoe. And the last one is titled The Dog Ladies Were My Awful Neighbors. Around 1993, friends of my father's bought a neighboring farm which came with a beautifully maintained, classic country-style 3-bedroom house. Having taken out a massive bank loan to buy the new farm, they decided to rent out the house to help with payments. A couple showed up wanting to live their dream of country life with their 2 German Shepherd dogs. They were charming ladies and it sounded like a great match. Fast forward 2 years, they are almost 6 months delinquent on rent. The farmers are getting desperate. The ladies said if the landlords came on their property, they would have them arrested. There is clearly way more than 2 dogs here. The ladies are not even living inside the house, only dogs are in the house. Humans are living in a shabby old camper van, now parked out front. Nothing has been maintained, the house is clearly falling apart, the lawn is just weeds, the stench can be detected well before you get near the house. This has to end. One blessed day it did end, the ladies up and moved their camper van and they were gone, but the dogs were still there. First call SPCA. Now this predates the internet carrying stories about massive animal hordes, but this would have been a major headline at the time. Over 60 dogs were seized from inside the house. And guys, trigger warning, if you don't want to hear bad things about animals, please don't continue reading. They also found several decaying dead dogs around the house as well. The dogs had chewed and eaten away all of the original woodwork, walls, a lot of the flooring, anything they could, even each other. The urine and feces had caused everything to rot through, not 1 square inch of the home was salvageable. It was heartbreaking when the demolition came. The original family had worked so hard to meticulously maintain this gorgeous country home and it was all plowed under only 2 years later. It was a total loss. I was too young to know what happened with insurance companies, but I do know they did not rebuild. But guys, I gotta say, the worst part is not the demolished house in that story, but the way the dogs were treated. I really don't know what it is about some people that they get much more pets than they can handle. I mean, usually people love their pets, so why would you get 60 dogs at once? It is absolutely impossible to take care of that many dogs all by yourself. In my opinion, really one of the saddest stories we have ever read. And guys, unfortunately we have already reached the end of the video. However, if you cannot get enough of my content, I would suggest to check out my endless playlist, which you will now see linked on the screen, which will provide you thousands of hours of my awesome content. In addition, if you still cannot get enough, I would suggest to check out my Patreon at patreon.com/ripeyoutube, where you will not only find exclusive Reddit content, and for $3 a month you will get early access to all my daily videos and you will be included in the name list at the end of each video. However, please don't feel pressured into giving me money or anything. I am already incredibly grateful that you watch my videos daily. Thank you so much and I hope to see you again tomorrow.